here, still dominating. Nico down there as well. But look, Andy, Verga, Krizix, and Jelty are going down. Puffy, though, has enough builds to drop down, still has HP. Can he find more? Finds a good shot. Is going to find another. Almost, no, going to take down one. Puffy, what are you doing?
Phenomenal individual performance, and the ultimate defensive low ground gets snapped in half. Now Jelty, Krizix, and Andy, they're going to be pushing forward, absolutely aggressive on height, have one final task to make, and Puffy made it that much easier. It's Kadenox and Chris, two-man situation. They go for the harpoon, but it's a bait. Drop down from Krizix, a clamp from Jelty, and that's a wrap on game one with 15 eliminations from the team that won round 3.
They started out in-game with 9 eliminations, which was more points that you said that Falconer and them had mid-in game, and then ended up picking up 6 more eliminations from the high ground. I told you they got to come out to a hot start, and that's what they're doing now.
It felt like they were playing pubs. I thought they queued for the wrong game mode. Do we have the right mode on broadcast? I don't know what's going on, because Clay, we haven't really seen that this whole season.
No, it was dominance, and that's what we want to see from these players that are coming into the second qualifier, because yes, they missed out on number 1, but hey, they're here, they're saying we are still just as good. But we're gonna have to throw it back to Zeke, Panda, and Kelly so we can see what all we missed.
We got you covered, friends. Wow, it's so crazy to be hanging out with Shywager for the second time today. I realize I need more Shywager in my life, but that's more on that at 11. Okay, let's talk about this last game. 15 eliminations from Jelty and company. Literally the first game of the day. And yep. Kelly, they just threw all the eliminations at the wall and said, listen, whatever happened didn't matter. We're just going to start on, we're just going to put our best foot forward. And that apparently was 15 eliminations in the Victory Royale.
And, I mean, from last week, they're still landing Sludgy Swamp. They didn't really perform very well last week, but here is something completely switched. I don't know if maybe a team that was around them that was like eliminating them while they were rotating is out of the competition. But what an incredible performance right there. Just absolutely controlling the high ground the entire time. It kind of looked like a lot of the action was happening on the low ground, so I'm very surprised that they were able to walk away with 15 elims. Usually when it's a very casual height take like they had, you're kind of playing a little bit passively, but they did not do that, Panda.
No, they did not. And I mean, look, we actually saw quite a few changes here to drops for some of these teams that were in Qualifier 1, now in Qualifier 2. So that could have definitely played a pretty different role, a pretty huge role at that. And looking at that, we actually have to talk about probably one of the biggest changes here, Believer Beach no longer being in the hands of Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. So now that wide open for Wally and company to actually take and try to make it their own. So I'm interested to see, will they be able to perform well out of this POI, especially with all those slipstream spots all around them.
I'm also a little surprised that Notch, who was landing just south of them, decided to not go for Believer Beach. Maybe they feel comfortable there. But of course, we have to talk about Reap, Favs, and Snacky. We were so confident that they were going to be landing in Caddy Corner, but no cat fights today. It looks like instead they switched up their drop spot. They did have another early engagement like we're seeing right here, but this did go to the favor of them. But Panda, it was close. Reap got really low.
He did, but Favs and Snacky playing definitely a little bit more careful than Reed. Ended up walking away, helping them get those final few eliminations and ultimately turning the engagement in their favor. And this is what I was talking about, that balance there to Reed and company. But speaking of things that we got to talk about, it is Wally, Jarito, and Jeevan landed here at Believer Beats and trying to make something of their own. Again, we got to talk about obviously how powerful this POI is,
so
but with all those new slipstream crash site areas close by, it makes it so easy for other teams to just slip in, potentially get those tags and eliminations early on.
Yeah, they did go out relatively early in 19th place there, but that does mean that they were able to make it to the mid-game. They didn't grab any eliminations, and I'm wondering if that's still everyone having some kind of PTSD from trying to avoid Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. But look there, up on top, Andy, Krizix, and Jelty. That 15 eliminations, almost double than any other team there, and they had height, they had that VR, and that's going to put them far above the rest of the competition.
Absolutely. More than double 10th place, right? Obviously, Reet, Fab, Snacky, 9 eliminations
in
10th place. That's the second highest elims, but only walking away with 10 placement points is not going to do it. You have to make sure you are balancing both placement and eliminations. I cannot stress that enough. It's so important. It's so vital, and that's how you're going to walk away in one of those top 5 spots. So we're going to have to see some changes if they want to continue to climb that leaderboard.
I will say, though, we are seeing already a little bit of an improvement from last week. They did go down in 15th, but with 9 eliminations, maybe they're realizing, hey, we might not make it to the end game, so we're just going to W key everyone around us. They were able to somehow avoid Falconer's team, who was at Corny Complex, so I actually think this is kind of looking up for them.
You gotta play to your strengths, you know, and sometimes maybe they'll get to a point and they'll break even. They'll be like, we've eliminated so many people. Whoa, endgame, how'd we get here? Whoa! You never know. That's the Zeke way. Just play it out and see what happens. But, you know, for that fan, we got 15 seconds before we jump into the next game. Remember, this is just game number 1. We have another 5 ahead of us. Will we see another 15 bomb? I don't want to say no because I like that. That's dope. But we'll have to see what the Fortnite gods have in store for us. So once again, you heard the battle bus. You know what time it is. We're going back with Clio Wager. Back to you, friends.
That one was okay. I'll give you that one, Zeke. That one I think was the best one that he's had coming into it. But what a pop-off. And Wes has always been these pop-off solos. We've got we had Poffy that game, just back-to-back pop-offs, and now I'm excited to see, can they do it again?
I think the difference is when Arkham Rex and Epic Whale are inside the game and playing, everyone's gonna scared to do what they want to do. Everyone's gonna scared to play their game. They take up so much space. They don't allow you to do as much as you would want to. They punish all the mistakes. Now for Jelty, for Reed, as Kelly and Panda said on the desk with Zeke, they're playing their own games now. This type of magnet playstyle, picking apart trios, staying around them like vultures, waiting for that surge to happen. That's how Jelty has 9 elims going to the end game. The other big thing too for Reed's side is that they're having fun, it looks like, right? No longer off-spawn drama. They get to pick the fights they want to take. It's not like, you know, Epic Will is there at Believer Beach. They can move around from Risky and do whatever they want to do. That's a very good thing for this week. You want to play to your strengths.
That freedom that they feel in these games is, it's got to be what they've wanted for a little bit. And what's going to be interesting is can they let that travel with them into the finals, right? If they qualify here, they have to have the same mindset. Just because Arkham, Epic Well, and Rex are in the game doesn't mean you can't play your game. Yes, they are the best trio in West history. I think it's determined now, we can say that. But that doesn't mean they're unbeatable.
No, it's also, you know, the rest of the trios that qualified, all very good at punishing mistakes. Even some of the ones that are not here today, Quinn, Symmetricals, really good at elevating the level of overall play defensively on the field. The thing is, right, that's not there as much, and these big aggro teams that to play their game as much as they want. Also, not trying to say that no one's getting punished. We just saw one of the men on screen right now, 40R Storm, right, last game, make a little bit of an error on positioning, got instantly punished by the whole lobby. So West is still very much awake, but there are some teams that are feeling more confident than ever before.
And this is an example of that freedom. This would not happen. No one would rotate towards Believer Beach, and unfortunately Crew is trying to get away, but just gonna get blown up there by the car. And ooh, look at PSR being a little sneaky around the side. Doesn't really want to be found out. Again, the thing with West is that the reboot card change benefits them the most. They have the highest average reboots per game than any other region. And so I'm expecting that number just to continue to go up, because you have sneaky plays like this where you're just sitting around, you wait, he's gonna go grab that reboot card, go sit back in that bush, maybe grab the other one and go for a reboot.
I'll try for it. Stay up for a little bit. It's not that sneaky if you're gonna try to determine what items you want, but he'll take it. Wale on that backside, just clearing out Believer Beach, and right here we got a stalemate. So things definitely changing, Clay. I think we were down to 28 teams instantly when we started that last game. Right now, not a single one has fallen just yet.
I think everyone was, you know, normally that first game is a little bit slower. Wale actually going to go down there at Believer. It's a little bit slower pace. Not everybody is going that aggressive, but I like that they tested the waters with the aggression this time around early. I like to see it in game number 1. That way everyone can kind of feel out how the competition is. Because if, hey, yes, you're going aggressive and you're doing it very well and successful, game number 2, set it up, see if it run it back. If you got first like Jelty, just run it back.
All that pressure for Jelty, though, came through the mid game, and it came because of all these early game fights. And for a majority of teams, it kind of went bad. So I feel like that aggression knob is completely turned off. Dubs also has to refarm here, kind of all in for that big tower position. Everything should kind of just resolve at Stealthy. And wow, if no one's really colliding, I'm not sure if Surge is going to be good for any team right now. Even over here, Nikohashi Rakabu disengaged from making 40R Storm happened last game, but it seems like not even a single person's taking pot shots. That will change here, especially with the incline going up. Yeah, Kabu loses all his shields. It'll be tough.
Making their way all the way over from Hydro 16. They wanted this fight. They wanted some tags, and they're leaving empty-handed. If not worse, they've used a lot of their shields. Crew doesn't have any to pop, so Nico will give them some. But again, if Fortnite is this back and forth game of attrition, whoever has more mats, whoever has more shields is going to win.
I don't even think they looted Hydro 16 to start the whole game. They're just kind of 50-50 the right side of Misty Meadows. Now have the entire left to loot for themselves. They can double back to Hydro. They landed in the first game, but in this one, they're getting kind of greedy with it already, making some switch ups. And that's huge because Wiggly and Macon are looking for loot on the right side.
Well, when you have a team like Jelty, Andy, Verga, and Krizix, and I literally was just about to set this up, so Obs is setting me up real well. They control all of Sludgy and the area around it. That is so many chests.
Yeah, and either you set up fast at Sludgy or you leave it all behind. You can see how fast these guys were last game too. If you give them an inch, they'll give you literally a record setting game number 1. That's huge for me. I feel like it's all about closing now. One big thing I've noticed from Krizix, at least over time, is that he has very good openers, very good round 3s, you know, semi-final type performances. But when it comes to the big finals, sometimes if he gets on a pedestal, it's tough for him to finish out the night and really hold on to first place overall. So that'll be one of the biggest challenges he has to overcome today, alongside Andy and Jelty at the same time. If they keep up the aggro, if they keep that magnet type of gameplay up, they should be fine.
We'll see it here soon. If they decide to stop, they will. There's going to be a team just around the other side. Is this team going to go for the engagement? They will. Shots are going to come through. Jelty doesn't know. No, hears it out just in time. They're going to be able to build up, take the high ground. Nice tag, Jelty 43. That's going to give them a little bit more to go off of than those tags that they got on the other team. Like that they've built all the way up, like that they've established themselves here. And in all honesty, I feel like a lot of teams, like you see Wiggly, Yuki, and CC, who they took out last round, use that brick, use that metal so soon. And right now, Jelty doing the right thing, building out of wood, getting up, because it doesn't matter what you build out of. This Guardian Tower is not going anywhere.
They also have loot from an entire POI versus basically a team that's kind of on a scuff scavenger path. So definitely that's why they're already opting for the brick. Confidence from Jelty's side, everyone just staying in one wood box. They also get to dictate when to leave. This kind of old Spire outpost, you get to jump off that little purple haze you see right there and disengage completely with gliders. Jelty, though, hit, and I was about to say this might be a risky fight for them to take. Usually, Clay, they're fighting damaged trios. That was a full HP one that was running right into them, right? So, gotta be careful. Yes, you got 15 elims last game, but a lot of it was when you're at an advantage. So make sure that advantage is still there, or you might trip up.
And notice not a full trio has gone down. We still have 33 trios. Yes, we've lost 4 players, but no one's fully been eliminated. So we went from one of the most hyper-aggressive games we've seen in recent history from West to, I would say, the slowest paced one yet.
This is kind of like a fish looking around emoji moment. It's like, guys, what's going on? Is this real? What do we do next? Is Surge gonna be worse or better now? We haven't really been here before.
We just got a reboot. We got 2 reboots, Shio. We got 2 reboots.
Oh, it's even more full than before. It just feels like you're throwing, you know, Mentos up inside a soda can. It's gonna blow up at some moment. We just gotta wait.
It seems like 40 are trying to be the catalyst. They're trying to be the one that drops them in. And see, but the tags are coming there. The fire is there. We see multiple 15 tags. That's going to be a lot of damage over. That's going to be what they need to hop in. 40R goes in, but look, Moose is going to get jumped on. He has to be careful about that. They're going from great angles, but they're not putting enough pressure down. Their third teammate is really not a factor in this fight. I'm not sure what Macon is doing now, finally getting involved there. They're running out of room on this defensive side, though. They've already started to claim everything down. Prism back and ID just running out of space. They're running out of time and they're fighting in the same box. And when you're down, you can't really go out. It's not really the play to do.
Pressure's on for every team. Second zone, and no team has been taken out yet. Misty Meadows has 3 different residents, and none of them are really fighting or taking big shots at each other just yet. Moose gets tapped from long range, but still, these boxes, they're staying up and alive. It feels like people are getting desperate over here. The sweat is starting to drip down the foreheads. I'm not sure who's gonna break first. It might be 40R over here, but these edits will get faster. The shots will come through finally. 40R gets at least 1. Applied back to, and now Moose is losing the shield too. This is trouble. They're basically out of all that blue protection. And now this box fight might finally find a way to eliminate one team on the map, please.
It doesn't seem like that. They don't want to go down without making sure 40R uses every little bit of the resources they have. You get the charge on the other side. Is that from 40R's team or is it the other? There is the knock. That's going to be 1 player down. But again, Shio, we just had an elim and we're back up to 96 players. Another reboot went off. In the meantime, this fight will happen. The first trio is going to be eliminated. It's not going to be the one that they're fighting, as though there's still someone up.
Might be someone up on the top side somewhere. The Zen boys are here, desperate again to get some surge damage to get their hands into a fight. The 40R's defense will be strong. They have 2 fully siphoned finished eliminated bodies to get all those mats, shields, and ammo into. And I think Wiggly, Yuki, and CC know that. They back up a little bit, look for a few vantage points and angles. Megan will be full HP. We're back to square one. And I feel like there's a possibility of this team even being rebooted or something. I don't know, but the 3rd reboot to knock it back up to 96 players. Now we're down to 93, and Surge is about to get active in a minute. I mean, this is probably what the servers might look like, or the people's brains right now. They're on fire. There are so many teams alive. This is going to be a tough one.
And it all stemmed from a couple seasons ago. There was a team that went from, it was just actually right over here, the hill that's right outside Lazy, pointing towards Misty. They had, they'd got the elims. They had 2 launch pads. One of their teammates was down. They grabbed the reboot card. They launched into Lazy. They went back. They got the reboot, launched back in the zone, grabbed all of the loot in time, went on to win the game because of that. And then from there, we just saw a reboot spike. I would say exponentially here at NA West. Everybody realized the power of having that 3rd teammate alive, even if it's just with the pistol.
Literally, if you have 10 seconds of time, you can get the team back and then use them as distractions. That is the play. Caleb finally getting hit, and look at the punishment come right after. People really want to expand on any damage they do, but no chance. Good defense. Even right now, 2nd zone, so many teams already boxed up side by side inside the actual zone. No one's fighting on edge. No one's doing a split at all on 2 different mountains. They're keeping things close and personal because the atmosphere is very scary. Only 1 team's gone down.
And I guess that's the fear substitution of not having Arkham, Epic Well, and Rex.
That or like, hey, are their calendars kind of messed up? Halloween's next week, right? The tricks, the treats, this seems like a big trick to me in terms of 32 teams alive. Or the scary festivities, like I'm waiting for Mist to roll in, you know, 33 more teams to spawn from the top. There's another one going down. McLovin, Zix, taken out by Comp Dog. Wasn't Comp Dog one of the players, a part of that PSR guys squad who got eliminated? So they got rebooted, they went into a different fight, and they took out another trio. The man who just had a pump in minis somehow got his team back alive and won a fight.
Yeah, that is NA West to a T. And look at how many teams are going to be below Surge, and that's going to be the real big push. You start to see the numbers drop. 89, 85, 84, everybody below Surge, now 83. So many players are dropping, and look, still below Surge. They got the max damage pump that they could, 118 below. All of the names coming through the feed, and it's still not enough.
Look at how down bad Jarito was on Surge. This man was pickaxing bodies before pump shotgunning for 40-40 to the head. Teams are doing whatever they can, and they're barely even above Surge. Riverson was just in a huge fight. You would assume he'd be about 200 up. It's just 127. Now the server starts to crack. Boon Baboon going down, Defiable falling to the pressure. Even Salco, teams that were so good at surviving till the end, aren't making it past this threshold.
And you said it well, it's because of the lack of early game aggression. This is where West usually has their aggression, but was different last game. Everybody got to play a different set of games. Everyone went a little bit too aggressive early, and now everyone's paying the price. It doesn't matter if you were above, you dipped below at one point in time, unless you were a team that had 1,000. Look at Chorito, 4 eliminations on their team. Now, finally, everyone will get a breath of fresh air. Surge is off, but the zone is almost already moving again. So while they have a breath of fresh air, they're going to have to worry yet again.
This just stops. They're going straight into the next moments of Surge just shortly. Basketball up against, I think it's Bluzzer on the other side of these walls. The fight's not done yet. Both teammates, or both teams, losing at least one teammate in this fight. Thought Peppers, though, Basketball's loadout looks absolutely amazing from what he's got on this elimination. Zone going right back down to Misty where we started it all off, and it might even get aquatic, who knows? So everyone's going to be moving into a very dangerous spot. With these many teams alive, you literally have no room to move either. It's so tough. So having a car like this, being in J Rose's position, this is very good. You actually get to be adaptive a little bit, make a few choices here and there, and you can see they're going straight for the center.
It's the best part about it. Like you said, you can react and be adaptive. But zone isn't. They decided to stand this hill, and I like this a little bit more. They've got that freedom. If zone pulls back to them, they can go back up on the hill. If it doesn't, there's a clear line of sight to where they need to go, and they're able to refarm.
Yeah, and the big thing too is that they tried to move in places that usually have one team have 3 right now, right? So any wrong steering wheel curve, they're getting beamed apart.
Hey, and you and I know all about those taxis. They are very, very deadly if they get to use them in the right way.
Yeah, you can really start running over players if you save them till the end game, but I don't think that's this type of show here today. I mean, hey, that first game was kind of pub-like. This one is the most serious one we've seen so far from West. Fruit can't make it into the zone. VZ doing what he did in game number 1, surviving basically by himself, looking for any more Elam points he can get. Maybe he finds just one, and he gets taken out too. We're gonna be seeing a lot of this. If there's so many teams alive, I feel like West has inexperience with this as well when there's a majority of players up. They're not going to be moving as fast. A lot of them will be lost to that zone pressure, even lost in the zone like Buzzo is right now. Chris Knocks Falconer, they don't care about any of that. They fly right by. And the people who took this spot, Clay, at the first minute of the game are still here. The game 1 winners, the guys who did so well in round 3 is Shelty, Chryzux, and Andy all the way up top.
And that's a great thing to see for them, that they haven't wavered. They kept that, hey, you know what? We had a great game. Let's slow it down just a little bit and then go aggressive when they can in that late game. Because like you said, they got a lot of weak players that you shoot one bullet over and boom, they're going to be eliminated. And that's a great thing for them. But you're not able to replicate that every single time. That's just luck. That just is, you happen to be looking in the right way. What they can replicate, though, is putting themselves up in a great position to win the game.
Absolutely, and that's their specific trio style of play, right? For the one on screen right now, Sizer Eclipse, Poffy. Poffy, one of the most impressive solo performances we just saw in game number 1. For them, it's more so a fireworks display. And let me expand on that in a second. Poffy's kind of like the Roman candle or the bottle rocket, right? All Sizer and Eclipse want to do is light that fuse. That's basically get to maybe the 5th or 6th zone, and then let this man just show a brilliant show of explosions, damage, movement. It goes crazy. As long as they can get him to that point, stay up on Surge, and then let him loose and free, him by himself is the force of a full trio.
It really was. After the performance we saw last game, and already Sizer does have 4 elims. So that's great. That takes a lot of pressure off of Poffy, because before it was like, hey, I had to pop off so we can get these elims as we spend that moment. Now it's like, oh, we've already got 5. I'm just going to keep playing the way I was. And that's just that much more relaxing for them, as Reed is actually going to get knocked down there. They're stuck in between 2 trios. Caleb, Riverside, and Southside trying to make something happen, while Eclipse, Poffy, and Sizer do the same exact thing. They put them in a very awkward position. Can Reed get back up, though? It looks like they're going to be able to do so, as the team from behind did stop shooting. They're threading bullets through, but they're not going to be able to do it, as Andy picks up another elimination.
Andy getting a few more, some pressure on the zone. Reed finally back up, but has to build over Riverside top side on this top side. And then above them is Smuck, and then above them is Jalti as well. So no miss edit can really come through. He's literally healing on top of a full trio below him. They can maybe even double edit if these aren't their floors, but I would doubt that. There's no way they pause here. Reet also keeping that wall open to get the big pot into his inventory. It'll cost him half his HP and Favs his entire life almost. They're kind of stuck literally in the trenches right now, below the dirt, in the water, and they really need to get out here because that zone's about to move.
I've never seen a trio commit to actually swimming and actually rotating. I haven't seen this since swimming has been introduced.
This is nuts. They kind of dip their heads all the way down below. Make sure they don't want to get sprayed though. You gotta go right back down. I know it might be uncomfortable, might not be able to hold your breath for too long, but that 50 or 54 HP, it's not gonna look that good when you're all the way this up high.
No one wants to let them go. Everyone's seeing them. Everyone knows that they're weak. But what's going to be an issue is if Reek can heal up, if Snacky can heal up, and they can get back together. Because they can turn this fight on a dime. They can turn back. They can get every single elimination and act like nothing ever happened, that they weren't put in a bad situation. But Riverson going to find an angle. Favs is going to take down Riverson, though. That's going to be great there for them. They're trading out, but look how low Reed is, down to 10 HP. Favs down to 55. This is good for them, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get Reed, or rather Reed's actually never went down. My apologies.
He went down to 1 HP, but he basically might even just be fully eliminated. Favs here too, unless he does the impossible. 145 to Caleb. That wasn't even Riverson. And they find the last one on the left. That is huge. The biggest issue for this team is they have no hard mats available, no resources. And I think Tatai actually, no, he was still alive. Reed tried to push for it, drop down the pressure. Was not enough. He gets full finished, and there is no reboot van left. They needed a full siphon to get back in the game. They need the mats back, the shields back, because they've been knocked so many times, and now they don't have that, and they've lost Reeds.
They're able to grab the elims, able to grab the loot because of it. So what can Snacky and Favs do by themselves? What can they do together? Look at who's above them. It's Jelty. Look at who's next to them. It's Poffy. Everyone around them wants to elim them. They know who they just elimed, and yes, that has to play a mental aspect. They know, hey, we can take them down here. It's that much harder for them to qualify through. And the finals without Reed, that's going to be so freeing for a lot of people because they can, again, just play how they want.
Absolutely. Jelty, though, plans are for a big, long 6-game pop-off and just maintain the momentum totally. They're not kind of overreaching, going for these box fights. They're staying up high and dry, waiting for the opportune moment, then moving. They had the best possibility for staying ahead of zone right there, Clay. Chose not to do it. Go for the launch pad instead, try to get as much damage as possible. And those golden wings, hope Jelty doesn't fly too high to the sun. Get those singed all the way off. No, he goes all the way down to low ground. They just want to keep things consistent now, Clay. This is genius. Already so far ahead of everyone else, almost 20 points, and they're really pushing that lead.
And that was a beautiful set of layer changes there by them, protecting every angle. Jelty still has 105 builds. Has to be careful though. Kaboo is trying to cut them off, and they're trying to get aggressive onto them, but that's all it is. It's an attempt. They're not really getting into the box. Jelty just dissuading them there, keeping them off the zone, pulling it out, and Jelty safe it. They're able to actually go back through their old builds and find a new layer for them, carve out this new area, and that's what they need. Again, they're already practicing tournament management after game number 1.
It looks like I'm watching 2 games layered on top of each other. So many fights on the front side of zone. On the back side, people still stuck all the way on their own. They're trying to make their way in. Nico all the way at the bottom, all the way eating that storm damage. Poffy blocks the box again against an assist. He gets completely popped. This is him once again operating alone. His teammates are so far behind him. He's still popping off. He's about to run into more teams.
His teammates are behind him, but it felt like they were so far out, he just decided, you know what, I'm going to solo it. I'm going to get more eliminations. Able to find just one this time around, though. 40R still here in the game. Jelty there in the middle. Snacky still up as well. But look who's on the high ground. It's Kenshi. It's Alithi. It's Jay. They are here. They're trying to get back into this. 48 points. That's a great start. But we saw what Jelty had. We saw the mountain they have to climb as Snacky now going to fall. This is great for them. And luckily, they have a lot of ammo, but they don't have a lot as Andy's actually going to go down.
Alien with a snapback, but do the shots have the same style? Nosh gets pushed all the way down towards the bottom. Jelty low HP. Andy's down, still top 10. It'll happen in just one placement, and that's so many points they have now. 85 they're rolling in with. The med kit, the big minis, and the big pot come through for Jelty momentarily. 40R Storm, Skitter's right by him on the bottom side. Poppy's still alive up top with the full trio Clay. They really have potential here to take part in the whole end game, but height is always a threat.
They've got 9 eliminations as well. Eclipse is going to go down. Nice shot there
Another
from
one.
Sizer. That's going to be another one. You're right, but Sizer going to go down. Now it's all to Poppy. The solo clutch last game gave them so many eliminations, so many points. Can he do it again? Can he set himself up? It doesn't seem like that for now. Trying to find room. Is he going to find 40R on the other side? The shots were there. 40R knows that where they are, but Poppy, layer change, smart, doesn't want to be on the same area as a trio, trying to find 40R on the other side. Can they do it? Jelty just barely going to heal up. He does. He finds 40R. Poppy, again, another solo performance, putting the team on his back. What more can he do? How many points can he steal away from these top teams? It doesn't matter, though, if Jelty and Krizix are still operating. Krizix finding elimination after elimination. It doesn't seem like he can be stopped. He finds Poppy as well.
Krizix is a storm's worth of damage, and they have control of the low ground. Jelty falls a little bit lower. He pops all the way back up. Knocks down Jay. Height's got a big afflicted. Tension goes down up to Jelty now in the 1v1. It looks like the beams, the commitment, and the plays.
Let's go.
They chill for the whole game, and they win a back-to-back.
I have no words on how he won that AR battle there. I said they needed to start hot, and they must have heard it because back-to-back figure rounds with double-digit elimination.
Double elimination.
Jelty's like, we gotta do this, this, and that. Krizix says, forget that. I'm going in, taking out 3 people. You just win the game. He's like, I got you, I got you. And they do it. It's double digits again, Clay. You're right. It's mind-boggling.
It really is. And
Jelty, let's go. Jelty sick. Not that.
Where are they gonna grab a bunch of eliminate? Oh, okay, they're grabbing the eliminate, but they're not gonna get the VR. Oh, okay, they got the. I mean, I don't know if it's the addition to Andy. I don't know if Krizix and Jelty have been playing together for so long, and they're incredible players. Panda, I'm like Clay. I'm at a loss for words.
I am too. I mean, look, that's consistency that we only saw when our Rex and Epic Whale performed in Qualifier 1. So it really could be a worthy challenger here for these top dogs of NA West. So I'm excited to see how they continue time between the 2 games. I mean, that is just impressive in itself.
Absolutely insane. Okay, we're gonna take a look at the standings in just a second. First, we got to talk about a few things that Kelly and Panda wanted to talk standings we're going to be looking at. So we're kicking things off with Notch and company, who might be looking to contest somewhere near Believer Beach. Is that right, Kelly?
Yeah, so I was a little concerned or confused as to why Notch wouldn't try and take Believer Beach, because we saw Arkham Rex and Epic Whale moved out of that spot. They already qualified, but instead it was a new team that went in there. It was Wallay's team, and we thought that they were just going to hold Believer Beach easily, but instead Notch makes this incredible play using the mobility given to them from the crash sites and was able to kind of take over Believer Beach. But Panda, it's a lot more, elegant than that.
Yeah, we got to dive into it. We got to talk about how they use these crash sites to their advantage, because it is unique. It's something unique geared to Season 8. And being able to not only utilize the crash site and the slipstreams that it offers and the positioning that it offers, like we saw in that game, it also gives you something unique in the sense that the shadow stones are available, puts you up in the sky if you use one of those pads, and then you can just drop in on a team like we saw Notch's team do. where they didn't use that in game number 1. They came back in game number 2 strong, diving into Believer Beach with that strategy and actually pushing the team that was there completely out of Believer, meaning that they not only get the loot that was there, but they get all the available resources. I mean, it's just impressive to be able to watch some new Season 8 stuff in play right here with the crash site being used for Notch. But we got to see how it affected the leaderboard, because I'm not sure that even with them getting that, it's going to make a big difference.
Well, I disagree, because they ended game number 1 in 15th place, but now up to 6th place. So I take it back, Notch. I asked you guys, why wouldn't you take Believer Beach? Clearly, they had a better strategy in mind right now. They're confident. They've already been here, and that is showing right now in 6th place. But they're going to have to earn a few more points if they do want to make it into our top 5, because, of course, that's where you make it automatically into the finals next week. But it's not too much of a surprise for anyone. Andy, Krizix, and Jelty, 2 VRs, 29 eliminations. My goodness, that's going to be sitting them up in first place. But Poffy, with that incredible solo run back-to-back, speaking of back-to-back, bringing their team up to 2nd place.
Yeah, and then we got to talk about some other names here. It's Reet, Favs, and Snacky, with only 23 placement points, have found themselves climbing into 4th place from 10th. I mean, it's impressive, but will it hold? If you're not consistent with that placement, I don't think it'll be enough, despite them getting quite a few eliminations there.
And that's why we're seeing Kenshi, Alithi, and Frappi, now known as Narcissist, in 3rd place. Even though they've only gone 4 eliminations both games, they've gone 2nd and 5th place. So we talked about at the start of the game, eliminations are great. Go and WP is awesome. We get to see a 20 bomb, but we want to see you make it all the way to the end game, Zeke.
Well, I hope that I myself can't make it all the way to the end game. Kelly, that's a joke, everybody. That's a joke. We'll see. Consistency is the factor, but again, this is without the top 5 trios from last week, so we'll see how this all unfolds. We're ready for another game. This is game number 3 of the FNCS, so we're kicking it back over to Clio Wager to take us in.
I know this is only game number 3, but I feel like we've just watched a 12-game finals come to an end after those 2 first games. Jelty, I don't know what he did today to warm up. I don't know what happened, but they want this.
Let's just put it in perspective for you. This man on your screen right now, this trio, Andy, Krizux, Jelty, they've lapped almost, I think, 10 or 11 teams by 100 points so far or more. 22nd place currently, I believe, is 18 points, and they have 118. They're absolutely dominating right now, and if I look at all the other regions and how they played, I think they just need one more game to qualify for the finals, right?
I think they do. They just need one more game, like we've seen, to qualify through. And you know, Kelly and Panda were talking about the 20 bomb. I'll take 2 back-to-back victory royales with 14 and 15 eliminations any day of the week, any day. You know, we don't need to hit 20. You know, we're good. I'm okay. I'm okay with what we just watched.
I mean, is it really impressive if it's not 3 in a row, right, Clay? Is it? There's even a point to get 2 in a row. I want the 3.
I think you've got to go for the 3. I think it's just you got to.
We'll see if they can. Right now, Comp Dog having a little bit of an identity crisis with his teammates. I think they were at Believer Beach before, or somewhere around there driving cars, and now they're at Lazy Lake, maybe going for a vacation or getting back to work, because these aren't office buildings. But clearly, it's working out for them, kind of. They've got 1 elimination, a launch pad from Lutz, but look kind of bad on positioning.
And River Sun's not a stranger to this fight. They fought this exact same style of fight last season, and it didn't end up going well as well. That's kind of what made me not a fan of fighting here at Lazy Lake, especially competitively, just because you can draw this fight out for what seems like 2-3 zones almost. And Riverside, I like that they're disengaging. I like that they're not trying to keep going through. They've got the reboot now. It's on that side of Lazy. They brought Kayla back. There's reboot number 1. Start the counter, Shio, because I guarantee you we're going to see at least 4 or 5 more.
It's so casual on West reboots. Like, on EU, I'm just used to teams camping that van. Like, even if it's a solo, they went to the van, they're not going to let that reboot go for free. On West, have an early fight, you get a reboot. You get a reboot. Check under your chair, Clay. You know what's there? A free reboot. That's crazy. I don't have to pay tax on it, but it is what it is. It's a free reboot. That's what's just happening in every POI right now still. Just the had a big lesson to learn from game 1, and now no one wants to go down.
And it just seems like such a stark difference. we saw that hyper aggression into almost just a complete full stop, a complete no. We're not doing that. We're going back to what we know as we move back over. Taltai, I talked about how I liked that they were disengaging and not quite yet. Riversan's still there, trying to put the damage back down. Actually, it's going to be Caleb and Riverside. Again, that reboot did come through, and I won't be surprised if we see another one from either one of those trios. But this is why fighting in lazy is one of my least favorite things, because it takes a long time. There are awkward angles that you have to find. It's not open like this. You cannot really predict as well in lazy.
It's also always off spawn, so people are hesitant to go all in. Fabs, he will always go for every side jump possible. The man's getting sprayed on the backside. Doesn't even care. He's still focusing on his target. And yeah, it's a little bit of damage. That 50 pot will reprimand it all the way towards the top. He'll notice one of the teammates going up too. Possibility for a chop here if there's a distraction, but nope. He'll just look by himself up at 3 people for an AR spray angle.
I like that they're going for this fight again. It did work out well for them the last game. I like that they're being smarter about it. Going for the chop down there. Only a couple shots to go. Reed's going to take down one. Snacky looks like they're going to go ahead and go for the shake down there to finish him on off. They do. They're going to pick up one. That's going to be the other player there. But once again, it seems like they've only found a duo. I'm not sure where a third person is, if they ended up going down to someone else. And gotta be, actually, wait a minute, there they are, right on top of Reed. Fabs, they come out of nowhere. Reed's trying to put the pressure back down, but they're out of builds there. Running out of shields as well. They've got the chug splashes, though. Back up they go. Fabs falling down, and all of a sudden, that got really scary really quickly.
Fabs, the point man, not gonna be here for the rest of the fight. Reed and Snacky will look to end this duo style. We know Reed most of the time in that format doesn't even need a teammate, so it's going to be a big plus for them. Big pressure drop down too. Reed has the final say on one of the eliminations. We'll wrap this one up super fast as well. Bunny hopping his way to the second. That's what I thought. That's just style. That's nice.
It was, and that's where they want to be. They want to be able to style on everybody. That's their gameplay. That's what Reed does. That's what Favs does. That's what Snacky does. They have this want to just be the best and be aggressive all the time. Is not just looking for an angle here with Grim and Fletch. Not able to find it there with the harpoon. Not able to thread it through. And they went for that shotgun shot there. But again, we talked about this in the break. That was a harpoon usage there. You can then swap into your shotgun and be ready, instead of going for that shotgun shot to break it, because everyone's waiting for the shotgun one. But if you put that ramp over it, you harpoon in, you're going to catch them off guard. And hey, Shio, we've got another reboot.
It's like a baseline to all the other action that's happening. It's just going to be there the whole time, keeping the beat. Is that like a flex from a Lazy Lake team? They just rebooted somewhere else around the map? I mean, hey, good job to Notch, by the way, and Grim, Fletch. All these elims really matter for them. They're on the kind of brink of top 5, so it's going to edge them a little bit forward. I think they were tied at 57, now jump up to 62 after that fight and a little bit of placement. But yeah, I guess reboots are the song of NA West.
They are. They're definitely the song of NA West, and we'll see a lot more. It's also the song, and this started with Mojo, Solution, and Jagver, is just burning down the entirety of Weeping Woods. If you left Weeping Woods and it wasn't burned down, that meant Mojo, Jagver, and Solution were not in your game. And it actually, I think it was 2 seasons ago, had a very big impact on one of the games, because the zone ended up here and they had nowhere to hide. You go to Weeping and you're like, oh, there's trees, we can dodge there, we can dip behind them here. But when you go into Weeping and there's no trees, that changes the gameplay entirely.
A lot of sidelines blocked off left and right. Also trying to make bozos out of anyone in this fight right now. He has one of the highest HP counts inside the fight, so he can go for big trades with that legendary pump as well. I mean, this man's gonna hit hard and barely even get hit back. Question is, why are you not dropping down? You've got the mats, you've got the position. Maybe because Mooney's down for now. Maybe it's a sneak attack, but the build stops that, and now it's gonna be a true 2v3 with no advantage on the side of Buzzo.
Look who's here. Look who's lurking in the shadows. It's Jelty, it's Krizix, it's Andy. They're looking for it and decide, you know what? Zone's coming in. That's too congested. No, thank you. And you talk about record-setting games. They've done it again, Shio. The most points through 2 games this season across all regions.
That's the whole world, and that's just in really 2 weeks. You got to remember, there's not going to be 3 quals here now, right? It's a little bit of a shorter region, or shorter season overall. And they're making it a shorter region, kind of. They're ending these games fast and style. They're taking out so many players before endgame even starts. A little bit of a left drift with the Chalker Tower car gives Krizux the angle needed for about 100 damage. They're making it look cool, too.
Oh, and they've got a team right behind them, actually riding in a car as well. The tactic coming through. Honestly, all they need to do, throw that in reverse, keep shooting. They'll be good to go. But we see Comp Dog again. Was rebooted and is going to go down again, unfortunately, there. Comp Dog, I love just how consistent they're being. Not giving up, even though they've gone down a couple times today. They're still getting back in. Their team is still fighting. And I love to see that every single time, even if you go down first in every single game, if you can still come back and not let that affect you going in, it's great to see moving over to an interesting fight. Not one we've ever really seen before. It's a convergence fight with Reed. And this is where Reed's going to operate well in these areas where there's already these pieces that you can't control around. Reed can really dominate this fight, but he's got to be careful. Look at that duo coming from the side. He doesn't have anybody right behind him. Yes, Faz is nearby in some sense of the word, but Snacky on the other angles.
And fighting over at the convergence, it's kind of like when you're looking at these builds, they're propped up against the green screen, but this is no movie whatsoever. It's not a fun time for any of these trios, especially with Reet nearby. It's just very easy to see exactly where people are going. It's very easy to navigate your shots with these builds, know exactly which edits are coming where. Very stark difference between the fore and background of the builds and the fights. And the big thing for Reet too is you can jump around a lot, which is huge. Get more angles, find more chests. I mean, look at this labyrinth right now. He's just getting free loot from this.
Meanwhile, Snacky and Favs are just keeping the pressure down, or he is able to go back and actually heal back up and get back into it. But 40R Macon and Moose will continue to disengage completely. In the feed there, we saw Krizix pick up another elimination. They are continuing their dominance. And Reed's one of the players that I've seen actually navigate this really well and know how to navigate. This is also one of my favorite types of Fortnite, is when you can use the mobility in the game just to kind of outplay that opponent. It was really apparent last season when you had the aliens picking up some of those POIs and there was that low gravity zone, and if you jumped, you were going to get eliminated. This is one of that same things, although it's the opposite. Jumping helps you a lot here.
Keeps you kind of mobile throughout the entire process of fighting. It's nice, but at the same time, the defensive teams have cool outs right there too. You saw the pressure from Snacky, easily disengaged. They bounced out before they could get bounced on. Now we're looking kind of still at that bubble in 5th. Talk about the way the leaderboard's kind of broken down right now. Jelty is in his own universe, doing whatever he wants to do. 50 points ahead of everyone, 60 points ahead. Poppy's right there in 2nd at 80 overall. And then right behind him, that's where everyone's kind of falling into line. Kenshi's team, Reeks, Hashira, Notch, who we're watching right now in 6th place. They're kind of that 50, 60 point threshold. Making 40R Storm and Moose, they're kind of on the 40 line. So what they need right now, Clay, is about a 15, a 20 point game on top of what everyone else has as well to catch back up to the pack.
And again, it's the top 5 that go through. So while yes, Jelty, Krizix, and Andy putting on a show, will follow back up with an elimination. That fight happening just as we swap away. I wonder if Snacky is going to be able to be picked back up there. No, gonna go down. Fast will go down there as well. Now only up to Reed. Reed has to clutch it up. Grover gonna be the one to go down first. What can Reed do? Can they find anything fast? Fully completed on over Reed. What is he gonna be able to do? Gets that full confirm on to Grover. Will get that siphon effect into their HP bar. But what more can they do?
I think they have a little bit of help. Kabu ends up taking out Bad Spy, who I believe might have been one of the teammates of Grover, if not involved in the fight. He got one of the finishes. We'll go back to the convergence, the Cube Town, where things aren't looking square at all for this team on the left for Reed. My man's all. There's so many potential opportunities to get your teammates back alive. 1,700 damage above Surge. 5 elims on the side of Reed. He has the cards, but where can he really go to get this game back and active again? Where would they even get weapons from? This is phenomenal in terms of damage and effect on teams, but Clay, if you can't make an end game, does it really matter?
It doesn't. It doesn't matter. Reed can make the end game by themselves, but do they really want to? Do they want to be in that situation? And I like that Reed is playing zone here. They know they have extra medkits. They know they can sit here, and they know this team just ran into somebody inside a zone. So this distraction will be enough. And I think that there's a medkit on Reed's, or rather a reboot van on Reed's rotation path now. So if they're just able to get around, they're able to swing to the outside of Corny, they can get their teammates back in.
Big moves from Kenshi, though, who is the perspective right below 40R Storms, the people that he's basically shooting at. They picked up the scraps of Reed's fight. That's about 2 eliminations. And then they rolled right under 40R and picked up even more right here, too. So huge elim exchanges in their favor. Reed will be running, tanking a lot of Storm, looking for a reboot, and looks kind of alone right now. That's just popping a medkit. I thought he was actually popping the van, and then 40R would have had some free elims, but there is no van here just yet. We'll have to run by another duo. This might be free pickings for him if he has the momentum. I think he understands there might be players here too. Not a build that's finishing the edit. This is a broken wall of brick in front of him. Just gonna, if he's gonna have to
go for it now. He's gonna have to spray him down. No,
that's unfortunate. Now that reboot van will be locked for a whole minute. The zone's moving in 3 seconds. Reed went all in for this, and he has no chance to get his teammates back alive.
Does he go for the elims? Yes, he does. Sticking to it. Doesn't have the time to go for the Cypher. Doesn't even matter. Caleb gonna go down. Reed, is he about to 1v? This team right now. What is Taltai going to be able to do? Taltai hiding in the corner. Reed says, hi, I found you away from him. No, unfortunately not going to be able to do so. Taltai keeping the distance there. And get 8 elims and get them some loot.
Oh no, the man can't do it all though. Rotation is the toughest part from it. If you see a Reed flying in, if you hear the reboot van from far away, this is the difference of playing for aggro, for elims, and just playing the game normally. Sometimes you bite off a little bit more than you can chew, but hey, that bite might look very scrumptious, very beautiful, because what Reed did right there, I mean, that's just disgusting.
It really was. 8 elims, and they are not even inside the top 20 right there. Reed is just playing the way Reed wants to right now. And that's great to see, because it seemed like the past couple seasons Reed was kind of holding back. He wasn't, again, it was kind of like CR in Europe, wasn't playing confident. And now we see Reed playing as confident as they can be, going in 1v3. That's the Reed that everybody knows at NAE West. That's the Reed that Panda can see, and that's why he keeps choosing him over and over to do well, because he knows Reed is such a good player.
Still, 69 points, I think, was the end for them overall, maybe even teetering near 70. And that, if I'm looking at the leaderboard in total right now, kind of edges them up towards top 6, top 7, based on where everyone is right now. So they'll have to do even more. The aggro's great, the plays are fun. But if you want to make it to the finals, you have to have the whole package. And yeah, you might have very good talent on one side of it, the aggression, picking apart trios and duos left and right. But it's about using that aggression, making the end game, and getting a big amount of points. Poffy is the one that's kind of doing what Classic Reed used to do in the old days. They save him all the way for the end game. He pops off there, crazy low ground clutches. Right now, just 1 elim for this trio, who has so many in previous games. It's all because they're playing reserved and then turning on the aggression meter towards the very end.
Where is that aggression gonna compound next, though? Who is gonna be the one that goes too aggressive too soon? Who's gonna just be that catalyst? Seems like West is always waiting for that moment right around this zone. Who's gonna be the one that's below Surge that needs that push? And it's not gonna be Poffy. It's not gonna be Eclipse or Sizer. They're sitting there just waiting.
What's it called when a star overheats? Or like is about to like expend it's you know, it's like a supernova, right? I feel like we're in a supernova spot right now for this zone. So many star-studded players all bunched up in this bottom right side. There's so much room everywhere, but they're not expanding. It's all condensing, collapsing within itself. And I feel like once this 5th zone locks in, if it's a max moving, it'll be a very, very bright night for these guys. A bunch of elims shining across the sky. The max zone might not be that pretty, even with launch pads to navigate through. And as we wait for it, they actually catch it. This big star turns into a whole solar system of builds, basically. Now everyone can kind of spread apart. Toffee, though, is making sure the orbit around every fight is around his trio. Oh, no. Might not want so many players circling around you, my friend. It's Defiable Mojo and Psycho that get a pick up all the way at the bottom. And now Eclipse and Sizer are kind of out of their whole win condition. Even Falconer took a knock while he was waiting for the zone to come in. Definitely a struggle one, but now these guys can really thrive.
40R getting knocked there as well. I don't think you're gonna be able to be picked up. No, Macon, the only one remaining, and everyone knows they're swing over as a saving grace. They are above. Realizes that's not possible. They have all been gobbled up. Andy gonna get another elimination. Krizix will finish that off. They just seem unstoppable at this point, Shio. It doesn't seem like anything they are doing anybody can counter
At all. Macon might be able to do the opposite, though, stay very far away and pick off single individuals of the trio that are flying by, but they're wiping out teams right now, which is an absolute dream to watch. Prism finally picks up a few on the bottom side. J Rose is on the top with the dog James. It's going to be playing through, and right now I think for all these teams, they're missing a bunch of members here and there. The position might not be exactly what they want.